Welcome to tonight's class. Go ahead and run around your house and find as many comfortable things as you can. I'm in my pajamas, and I hope you're in really cozy clothes. Some of you are in your bedrooms, which is perfect. And pillows, blankets, blocks, books, whatever you can use to stack up your practice tonight, go and grab those things because it's a restorative practice. And I put the Spotify link in the chat box. You can go ahead and click on your Spotify if you'd like music. And then come to a comfortable seat. And let's sit up on a bolster. Make sure you have a journal or a piece of paper, pen, something to write with for tonight's class too. And the way that this works, those of you that were with me last month, as we go through some of the poses, I'll invite you into some questions for self-inquiry, and then pull you out of the pose, give you space to write your reflections to those questions, and then take you into another pose. That's the direction we're headed. And tonight's practice is focusing on your kidney and your bladder energy line, which if you take your hands to your lower back, runs along the deep back line of your body. So there will be a lot of forward folding this evening, supported forward folding with props, of course. And I just got back from going on a spooky drive with my kids, where we drove all around the neighborhood to look at all of the spooky things. And my 3-year-old is just beginning to understand the idea of fear. Now he's at the age where he can discern the difference between Halloween decorations and really real life scary things like a wolf attacking him or something, right? But last year he wasn't. Last year he thought Halloween decorations were very real and very scary and threatening to his existence. And I want to bring that conversation into tonight's class because I would like us to put ourselves into that mind of a toddler and consider what things we are afraid of right now that maybe a year ago we weren't afraid of, and what things we might be afraid of now that maybe we don't need to be afraid of. Maybe we do, right? But are there some things that have become so scary to us in this absolutely unpredictable world that we live in that we've lost sense of what actually deserves to be afraid of? That's the journey, the path that we're going to take tonight. And I'll take you there slowly and patiently and lovingly, I promise. Sit up nice and tall and turn your palms to face down. Thumbs and index fingers come to touch. Close your eyes. Take a great big breath in through your nose. Lift the crown of your head high. Open your mouth wide and exhale. Exhale, your shoulders fall, your heart softens. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide, exhale, let it go. One more time like that. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. And now sit here in stillness, total stillness. And I want you to think about something that scares you, something that you currently feel fearful of. What do you feel in your body? The second that thing, that thought comes into your mind's eye, what do you feel in your body? Where do you feel that fear? Mine is my throat. My throat literally starts to feel like I'm being choked. Can you isolate where fear lives in your body? And then put a hand there. Softly and lovingly put a hand there. Set the intention to let go of this fear. Even if you only let go of this fear for the next 58 minutes, set the intention to let go of this fear. Notice if a new fear pops up, a fear of letting go of that fear. And sit with that for 1 minute here. Breathing in and out through your nose. Thank you. Take your hands together at heart center. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out through your mouth. Let go of that fear. Inhale to listen or sing Om 3 times. Beautiful. Open your eyes, lower your hands, lean back, and just take your legs out in front. Give them a little wiggle. Then place the soles of your feet together with your knees wide. You could keep your hips elevated, and you might also take blankets, stacks of blankets underneath your knees or your thighs for some added cushioning, okay? And your blanket can serve like a bolster. You just roll it up to look like one. Sometimes I use extra yoga mats in my restorative home practice. Good. And now you can stay upright and focus on this stretch through your inner groin, or you might start to fold forward. Again, if you have the props nearby, you can choose to prop yourself up more than we would in our yin practice tonight. So you might take a bolster or a stack of pillows and come down into that deep forward stretch. Come down into a deep forward stretch. This is butterfly pose. And you'll notice right away the focus anatomically on the lower back, on your lumbar spine where your kidneys live. Could you close your eyes once you've folded forward and surrendered into your shape? Close your eyes and start to breathe into your lower back. Breathe into your lower back, this energetic space in your body that holds on to fear. And without pushing any fears away, can you just start to compile a little list of everything you're afraid of right now? Right? What do you feel afraid of? Little simple things like going on a Zoom call, doing yoga in front of strangers, to really big, real things like getting sick in a world where that means so much more than it used to. What do you feel afraid of? Start to compile your list and don't judge what comes up. Don't try to change what comes up. Just sit with it. Become familiar with it. This is a practice about really getting to know yourself and your relationship to your fears. 1 minute in stillness and silence together here. Please take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale with a sigh out through your mouth. And now inhale and really slowly elevate your body back up. Lift your body back up. Good. If you have a prop on your ankles or your thighs, take it off. Lean back onto your hands and just rock your knees left to right. Staying in this forward fold motion, this time we'll just take our legs wide. Okay, so again, you can have props under your knees if your hamstrings are really tight. Allow your legs to relax. And then build yourself up a little castle. So maybe you're folding onto the tip of a bolster, onto a bolster folded down on the floor, onto a giant stack of old dictionaries. It doesn't matter what it is. You're just folding into a place where you can rest and you don't feel a big stretch. You don't feel any pain, but you feel a little bit of sensation and a lot of release. Some of you might even have your knees completely bent here. You're just folding in. Again, activating that deep back line of superficial fascia where your kidney and urinary bladder meridian live. When you get into your shape, close your eyes, take a big breath in. And exhale, let everything go. Getting more specific about your fears, your present moment, present day fears, can you start to reflect on who you are afraid of? Are there any people, maybe bosses, parents, friends, relatives, competitors? Are there any people you feel afraid of? No judgment, just awareness. Notice what comes up. Notice whose faces you see. Are there any activities that cause you fear? Maybe that's physical activities, maybe it's cooking, baking, traveling. Any activities that cause you fear. There is no wrong answer, just getting to know them. Take a big breath in. Exhale, soften, and let your body release even more. Imagine two hands, two really warm hands, just pushing on the base of your spine, releasing you deeper and deeper into your pose. And then anything about yourself. Are there any qualities in yourself that cause you fear? Release into the pose. One final minute here. Good. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, relax. Inhale, walk your hands back up. Lift your heart, lift your chest. Move any props just out to the side. And as always, your transitions are your transitions, so you move however you like. I like to shift my knees left to right after those deep forward folds and maybe loop my shoulders back to extend through my spine. But you do you. And now find your journal, find your pen or your writing utensil, a piece of paper. We're on the clock. You have 1 minute to write down your response to the following question. What are you afraid of? Go. What people, what activities, and what about yourself do you feel afraid of? Twenty more seconds. Just point for them. You don't need to detail anything. What are you afraid of? Very good. There are two options for our next pose. This is a deep stretch through your lateral line, so through your hip flexor. One is to do a supported pigeon pose, in which case you'll need some blankets or some bolsters, and I'll show you that now. In the supported pigeon, you could come onto all fours with a bolster laid out in front and then step your right foot over that bolster. Heel toe your right foot across your yoga mat before you drop your right bum, your right hip onto that prop. Your left leg will extend behind you. From there, you can lower down onto props or onto the floor. You come into this pose and you really fall over to the side. That's okay. You might tuck your left foot forward and take the deer variation with or without your bolster behind you. So in this variation, my right shin is parallel to the front of my yoga mat. My right thigh is parallel to the right side of my yoga mat. And my left leg is down in this 90-degree angle behind me. And don't get caught up on angles. You can move things around so that your body feels safe. You might fold forward, in which case that will really intensify the stretch and the shearing, the pull through your outer hip. Or you might come right down onto your hands or a prop. So I'll show you again from a forward angle. That's one variation. Your left foot in that 90-90 shape. Right, and the second variation is with your left leg extended all the way back. Thread the needle is a great option if neither of these work for you. We'll be here for 4 minutes on each side. So I'd really like you to choose a variation that does work for you, that doesn't cause you pain, and doesn't make your teeth just cringe, doesn't make you feel scared. And then thread the needle, you're on your back with your right knee over your left ankle and your hands might wrap around your back thigh. Maybe they wrap around your front shin. So you have 3 variations. Take the time to get into one that serves you. And when you find that place, drop in, right? So I say close your eyes, and you don't always literally have to close your eyes, but imagine that you're in this place where you're not distracted. You're not being pulled in different directions. Can you shut down for just 3 more minutes now? Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide, exhale, relax. And if you can't relax in this shape, choose one of the other 2 variations. And while you linger in this pose, I'd like you to ask yourself and reflect on, what were you afraid of in the past that you overcame? Is there anything that you were afraid of in the past that you overcame? I was terrified of the idea of teaching online yoga. Now I'm fine. And how did you overcome that? So just come up with a few examples. What have you been afraid of in the past that you overcame? How did you overcome that? Linger here. 2 more minutes. Take 3 more big breaths. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Take 1 more breath in. You might flutter your lips as you exhale. And then press your hands into the floor, lift up, and transition out of the shape. Maybe you go to downward dog if you're in pigeon pose. Otherwise, you can roll onto either hip, send both legs forward, shift your knees. Find a transition that feels good in your body, okay? And then find your journal, your pen, and take a moment here and 1 minute. You're simply writing down a list of things that you were afraid of in the past, a list of things that you were afraid of in the past that you've since overcome. And if you know how it happened, often it happens by necessity, right? Write down how it happened. Things you were afraid of in the past that you've since overcome, and how. Twenty more seconds. When you're done, find your way into that same stretch on the opposite side. So I like to use the bolster here. Your left leg will crawl over the bolster with your left hip supported by that bolster. It almost pushes you forward. And then you can keep your right leg back behind you, bent at that 90-degree angle as you pour your torso ahead of you. Or extend your right leg all the way back. Be mindful that the right side and the left side of your body are very different, right? And so maybe you prefer to take a modification, and you could come onto your back and thread the needle on this side, even if you didn't on the other side. Take the time. Restorative and yin practices are really wonderful because we get this extra time and space to settle into a variation of the shape that serves our body, not the teacher or the practice or the way we think the pose should look. Instead, we can really just go to a place that feels good. So find that place that feels really good. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and relax into it as much as you can. And then begin to explore things that you've been afraid of for a really, really, really long time that you have not ever overcome. There's no blaming, there's no shaming, just observation. Things that you've been afraid of for a long, long time that you cannot overcome. Mine is spiders. Even though I have two boys who like to touch insects, I can't handle it. I can't overcome that fear. It's just this big block. So what is yours? What are your fears that there's a big block? Get to know them and then drift away into rest. You're here for 3 more minutes now. You have 1 more minute here. Just tap into breath. Let go of all the thinking, all of the reflecting, all of that deeper work, and just be with your breath. Take 3 deep breaths to close your time here. Peel your body out of this shape. Take it somewhere that feels appropriate. Your transition might be a downward dog. You might just come to lie on your back or your belly. Just go to a place of stillness or movement that feels nice. It feels like a great big hug. And after you've done some little movements to transition, find your journal. You guessed it, write down things that you have been afraid of in the past that you continue to feel afraid of. The stuff that has never gone away, that lingers. No judgment, nothing more than just jotting down notes for yourself to explore later if you wish. Once you've written everything down, bring either a folded up blanket, so you see how I have my blanket folded up, or a little bolster. Not really a great big bolster, works for this pose, so a blanket is nice. And then come to set your front ribs onto that bolster or that folded up blanket, and place your hands and your arms on the floor just in front, right? So I'll tuck my elbows directly into my prop, let my legs relax. This is Sphinx pose in Yin Yoga, but we're adding a little prop under our ribs here to support us, which means that if you choose to relax, and you absolutely can, if you choose to relax completely, that bolster will still push into your rib cage, stimulating in and around your diaphragm, in and around your digestive muscles, your digestive organs rather. And you'll feel a really big compression in your lumbar spine. So you choose your place. If you're up higher, the compression in your lower back is more intense. And if you're down lower, it should start to subside a bit. You can also use another blanket under your head or your cheek for support. You found your shape. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide, exhale, and let your body collapse over your prop. Let your body really collapse over your prop. And now I want you to think about all of the people or things or activities, maybe foods or drinks that help you fight your fears. I just finished reading Amy Winehouse's biography, and she said she really got heavy into drinking because she was so afraid of performing on stage. She had such terrible stage fright that she would just have one drink, two drink, and so forth. So what things do you have in your life, and don't judge them as good or bad. What coping mechanisms or tools do you have that help you fight your fears? These might be people. Maybe you call your mom before a big deadline, or a spouse, a teacher, a yoga practice. And just explore those things. A little bit of time here as you do that. Take 3 more big breaths right where you are. 3 more big. And on your 4th breath in, wiggle your body up. Crawl onto all fours. It's a bit like an army crawl to get there. And when you get to all fours, just move. Just move your spine. Maybe you're tucking it in, rounding into cat-cows or big hoops with your back body. Take about 10 breaths here and make any other movements that feel good from this shape. Good. Keep your feet flexed. Your feet are flexed, and sit back on your heels. So you're sitting back onto your feet. This. I hope your pen and your paper are nearby. If not, grab them and bring them over. We'll just do a nice little ankle and foot stretch while you answer in your journal that question of what helps you fight your fears. So who supports you? What supports you? People, activities, food, drinks, books, podcasts. What supports you? 1 minute here. And if the foot stretch becomes too intense, you can just sit back on your heels with the tops of your feet on the floor instead. 20 more seconds. Who and what support you in overcoming and fighting your fears? When that's all done, lean forward, lift up your feet, wiggle them around. And prepare to come into a restorative child's pose. So set your knees wide, about that distance apart, but they can be more, they can be less. And you might opt to bring a blanket between your thighs and your calves or underneath your ankles for support if you have sensitive ankle joints, maybe under your knees. I prefer to have props built out in front of me when this shape becomes restorative, so you can stack up whatever you've got out in front and then begin to descend. So you're coming down, hugging your pile of pillows and props. Rest either cheek on your pile of props. I'll let you know when we're halfway through our time here. And if that is too much on your knees and your ankle joints and you're nearby a wall, you could simply lie on your back and place your feet against the wall. So your knees are still coming in, your spine is flat, you'll get that gentle stretch through your back and your groin without the impact on those more sensitive joints. Please take a deep breath in when you get there. Exhale to land. Child's pose. In traditional Chinese medicine, the opposite of fear is joy or wisdom. The wisdom to let go of fear, right? And there's a gentleness, a calm energy that comes along with clearing out the stagnant chi in your kidney energy line that might cause a lot of fear. There are certain times in our life where we're afraid of everything, i.e. right now. And other times, I remember backpacking in my 20s, crossing borders by myself and not being afraid of anything at all. And so if you look at yourself right now on that scale of fearless to very fearful, notice where you put yourself. That was a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is fearless. 1 is absolutely afraid of everything. Where would you put yourself? No judgment. And then take a deep breath in through your nose. Accept that you're there. Exhale through your mouth and relax. And transfer your mind, your thinking energy, into a place of joy. What brings you joy? What brings you joy? Switch to the opposite cheek if you haven't already. And let your body just experience the memory, the nostalgia of things and people and places that bring you joy. 3 more breaths there. Slowly peel your body back upright. Set your props out to the side. Take your feet out in front of you. And before we take Shavasana, I'd like to explore one more shape that may or may not work for you. So I'll show you 2 ways to do it. Option A is called legs up the wall. If you have a wall or even a bed, or like a bookcase, something that you can use like a wall, come and scoot your hip over to the edge of that wall, and then slowly rotate your body to lift your legs up. You might keep a pillow under your head. The closer you go towards the wall, the more active or yang this is. The further away, the more yin. And it's fine if your feet flop open, if your knees start to open up. The idea here is just to relax. If you do not have access to a wall, that's okay. You can build up a great big pile of props 3/4 of the way down your yoga mat. So just grab them all, stack them on top of one another. Come to lie down and place your legs over your pile. In either variation, your hands can be on your belly or alongside your body on the floor, palms facing up or down. Whichever you choose, could you relax your jaw? When our kidney and bladder energy lines are off balance, we often have issues with our bones, with our teeth, right? We often face bladder infections or bladder issues, incontinence. So relax your pelvic floor, relax your teeth. They're actually intrinsically connected through your body. And in whatever shape your inversion looks like, be there for the next few minutes of silence and rest. If you love the feeling in whichever position you're in right now, please by all means stay there and allow that to be your Shavasana. Be in Shavasana for 5 minutes tonight. If you prefer a more traditional Shavasana, you can clear your mat with any props to lie flat on your mat. Or slowly invite little wiggles through your fingers and your toes to draw your knees in. Roll over onto either side. Curl up to seated and then descend down onto your yoga mat for your final corpse pose. Our intention for Shavasana tonight is a gentleness. A gentleness. When our body is in a state of fear, we are everything but gentle. Can you rest in whichever shape you've chosen to close your practice in and bring every last inch of your body into a gentle state of being? There is no more work to do, there is nowhere to go. Simply take one more big breath in. Open your mouth wide to exhale. And relax here until I cue you up and out of Shavasana. Enjoy. Take a deep breath in through your nose, wherever you are, and a big exhale out through your mouth. Start to bring little movements into your fingers, into your toes. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, wherever you are. Exhale, relax, drop your knees down in towards your chest or pull your knees in towards your chest. And roll patiently onto the right side of your body. Press your palms into the floor, pull yourself back up to a comfortable seat. Take as much time as you need to get there. Find your journal. Find your journal and write down what and who bring you joy. What people, activities, places, foods, drinks bring you joy. Slowly bring your hands together at heart center. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Thank you for practicing. Thank you for doing the work, for journaling, for exploring and resting. We'll see you next week. Namaste.